I showed you how I do my zip tie ear post. I'm going to show you how I do my backer rod. And once again, the point of this is simple backer rod ear post. Simple as you can get that work. This is how I do all my ears. Typically, how I prefer to do ears is I start them out in a backer rod. After we take stitches out and everything's healed up, I start them in a backer rod. And once the bases are strong and they will stay up, and we're just working on getting that top part of the ear, then I switch them over to a zip tie, because the zip tie, you can really get a good stretch on it, and it helps get that ear nice and crisp and straight. Whereas you see some ears that they're up, but they're just not real crisp, and they're kind of a little floppy and not real straight, and that bugs me. So I want my ears tight and straight and crisp. So I start in a backer rod post, and then I transition to a zip tie post once the bases are really strong. My thought is the backer rod curving and bracing that ear initially just helps strengthen it faster. Whereas the zip tie is smaller, so it doesn't give it quite the brace that it needs when it's first starting to stand. Anyway, that's my thought process. That's how we do our ears. We start with the backer rod, and then we transition to the zip tie once the bases are standing good. So this is how I do my backer rod. First, you need your backer rod. This is, again, something you'll find in a Home Depot kind of store, Lowe's, Home Depot. You can get it at Amazon. You can get them at Walmart. It is going to be, most of the time it's like with your weather stripping and stuff like that. But if you just put backer rod in or ask somebody for backer rod, you should be able to find it. It comes in 3 different sizes. You have 3/8, you have 1/2 inch, and you have 5/8. 3 different sizes. And again, what size you're going to use depends on the size of the ear of your puppy. These ear posts and ear posting methods can be used on any dog. I personally have boxers, but you can use it with a boxer, or a Doberman, a Great Dane, Schnauzers. It doesn't really matter. A post or post. So if you start with a small puppy, a lot of times when I first start posting, I will use a 3/8 because puppies' ears are just really small. And here's another thing. The better your post fits down in the ear canal, the less it pops out. So I have found I had a lot of trouble keeping ear post in initially with younger puppies when I was using 1/2 inch. They just kept popping out. So when I went to 3/8, which fits down in there better, the post stayed in beautifully and they didn't pop out nearly as much. So using the right size to fit in your ear canal helps a lot. And that obviously just depends on the size of your dog. So you need your backer rod. You will need duct tape. And this is the tape that I use for doing backer rod. It is Nexcare Gentle Paper Tape. And I use this for all parts of the backer rod ear post. I back wrap it in it, and I also wrap the ears afterward in it. The Zonus Porous tape that everybody liked and used before, you can't get. I have some that I have stashed away in a stock, but you have to use the 1-inch porous cloth tape for zip ties, because your zip ties, you have to have a more stiff tape, whereas this paper tape is very, very soft, and it's just not stiff enough to do the zip tie, but it works beautifully for the backer rod because the backer rod itself is stiff, so it doesn't matter. This is just not going to be strong enough really for your zip tie. But again, it works really good for a backer rod. So I use this now. I've been using this for a couple of years now for my backer rods, and it does not come loose. This stuff sticks really, really, really good. I even use this when I'm doing shows and I have to take my puppy's ears down every day. I will do this with no spray and just take it off, and it doesn't really bother the ear so much. So it's very gentle and it works really well. So backer rod, duct tape, and paper tape. That's it. So you're gonna get your size. Obviously, you're gonna want to make it a little bit longer than the ear to begin with. This needs to go down into the base of the ear canal. So you're going to need to measure roughly from your base of your ear canal to 1/2 inch above your ear tip, around in there, and cut it. Larger is better on Baccarod because you're going to cut it in the end anyway. So it doesn't matter. So larger can be better. Try and straighten this out a little bit. Now, somebody else showed me this, so I don't think it was me that came up with this, but your duct tape really helps strengthen your Baccarod, because Baccarod all by itself is very, very flexible. And what I see a lot of times is people post ears, they just back wrap it with tape, and then their ears literally are curved like this, because the Baccarod curves. It's not straight. It's not stiff. And so your ears are training to stand, but they're all curving this way and that way. It's not straight. Drives me insane. And you don't, I don't think you want that, because the goal is to get the ears straight. So if you use the duct tape and do this little step, it keeps it straight. Not hard at all. You put it on the duct tape. I've got, 1/4 inch down here, so that is not in the duct tape. Snip it and gently roll it like you would be rolling a cigarette, I guess. I've never done that, but I've heard about it. So you've got a little bit left at the bottom where there's nothing. And this is the part you put down in the ear, and it's soft. A lot of people, and I used to do it too, I would wrap cotton on it. I'd put cotton balls and the cotton squares and all that other nonsense. And it makes it big, and it doesn't stay in the ear as well. And this is already soft. This is not going to rub anything. So I just one day I was like, why am I doing this? Because it's soft anyway. I'm like, what would it hurt if I just stuck the Baccarod ear post in there like this without anything on it? Nothing. It works beautifully, and it stays in a lot better. So there you have it. Then you take your tape. Now this is the only thing I do a little different, is I'm going to start, can you see it good, Charlotte? Mm-hmm. I'm going to start my back wrapping all the way down to the bottom. So I want my tape all the way at the bottom. It can even go past the bottom a little bit. That's fine. I do a whole wrap around the correct direction. So this is stuck on here good. It's stuck. You do the sticky side first to begin with. And then I just twist it. Make a twist, kind of like an X. Twist it around. And then you start your back wrapping with the sticky side out. Again, you can see I am all the way at the bottom of that ear post. Get it good there. And because you have gone around that like 5 times, this gets a little bit bigger than your top, which is good because it just fits down in that base a little bit better. And you start doing your back wrap. Of course, if you've never done this before, it's more tricky than it looks. When you've done it a gazillion times, it looks really easy. It's not as easy as you think it is initially. Another good thing about the paper tape is it's easier. You don't get as many big wrinkles. Sometimes with the cloth tape, you would get these big wrinkles, and that can rub inside your ear and irritate it. Whereas you don't have that so much with the paper tape. And that's literally it. That's all I do. This is the Baccarod post. This is soft and it's sticky all the way down, and it fits in the ear and it works beautifully. Once I insert it, I do use a spray glue when I insert it, and I will cut the top so it's the right size, because normally this is too long. But I'll make a different video for inserting these, but this is all I do. Now occasionally, I'll show you this. I'll make one more and show you another one. So occasionally you have a puppy that just has tiny little ear canals. I mean, that happens. That even a 3/8 is a little bit big. So if you have something like that, and sometimes your puppies don't have the same size ears. I actually have one like that. They're like people. Sometimes their ears are different sizes. 1/2 inch fits great in one ear, but the other ear is a little bit smaller. And so this is something you can do if you have a puppy that needs something a little bit smaller. You do the same process here. Gently roll it up. So you've got your bottom here that's soft. And here's the only thing that's different. So if I have somebody who's a little bit smaller, you can take it and you can just snip part of that off so that you give an angle to this and it fits down into the ear canal better. If you have a puppy with a smaller ear canal, or maybe a puppy who has 2 different size ear canals like I do. But you wrap it the same way, exactly like we did the other one. We would start our wrapping, and I'm doing this backwards from what I normally do, so that's weird. Wrap it around a couple times. Oh yeah, I did totally do that backwards. Sorry, I can't do that. I gotta do it this direction. Right-handed. Gotta go this way. So you start, wrap it around, and it doesn't make any difference. You just have that angle there at the bottom. Flip it. Get your sticky good. And start your back wrapping all the way up. And that just makes it to where your base is a touch smaller there and will fit down in better if you have somebody. So you have a regular size and then you have one that's a little bit smaller. Some people like to put braces. I've never used a brace. I don't find a need for a brace. When you use the duct tape and you make your posts good and stiff, which, oh, by the way, let me show you. Now this doesn't bend. It doesn't bend. It stays straight. And it stays like that in the puppy's ear. So instead of having a floppy, bendy ear post like this, like your regular backer rod is, you now have a straight, stiff ear post. And I have seen people accomplish the same thing by taping a piece of zip tie. That's a lot harder. It's way easier just to do this with the duct tape, and you get the same end result. And the whole point is simple. So this is much simpler than taping a zip tie to it. Plus, then you have the extra bit there that you have to make sure is not going to rub inside your puppy's ear when you have a zip tie on one side like this. So this is just simpler, straight, easy to do. That takes 5 minutes to make 2 ear posts. So that is my backer rod ear post.